What's up, Kaya?
What's up, man?
Looking to get my first AR. What do you think about this thing?
First of all, that's not an AR.
Yeah, okay.
And do you know what your budget is?
That's a good point. All right, this one's definitely a little bit close. It's got AR in the name, I believe. No? He looks disappointed.
What are you going to use it for?
Home defense?
This is not it.
Okay. All right. I've been on Reddit, I've been on Google, and I've been on YouTube. I think I got one.
Stop. All right, let's talk about 5 things to consider before you buy your first AR-15. Don't be this guy. Welcome back to Class Firearms, guys. Kaya here with Jason.
What's going on, folks?
And in this video, we're going to talk about 5 things that you should consider before buying your first AR-15.
Yeah. I'd say that's pretty important, right? I mean, that's a big purchase.
Absolutely. It's a very big purchase, exercising your Second Amendment rights, but there is a lot of them out there. Bunch of different companies, bunch of different variations of them, calibers of them out there. And if you are buying your very first AR-15, well, most likely you may be new to this space. So in this video, we're going to explain 5 things that we think they are pretty important for you to consider before buying them. So with that being said, we should just dive right into it with 5.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Starting out with number 5, right? Something that we all near and dear to our hearts, especially, you know, our wallets, is price, right? So that plays a huge factor on what you want to consider before you buy. I mean, you don't have to get the most top of the line thing, you know, you don't have to get, you really don't want to get the most bottom of the barrel thing, and that's all subjective in itself, right? Because it comes down to materials. But I'd say price has to be a decent factor.
I agree. So there, again, as I said, so many companies out there, they're making all these different type of AR-15s. There's like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 AR-15s just from the factory. But price point is extremely important, guys. Before you buy your very first AR-15, know how much you're willing to spend, and kind of stay true to that, because you could easily get lost trying to find that perfect AR-15. Next thing you know, you're all over the place when it comes to price.
Right, and we're not talking about like actually like diving into customizing. We're just talking about base price of the firearm, right? What you get out of the box, what are the features that you actually obtain, and is it workable from there? I mean, hey, you gotta start somewhere, right?
I agree, exactly. And there's so many gun tubers out there, videos out there that review a bunch of different AR-15s, so it's very easy to get lost in the process. Have a price point, consider that, whatever it is, $500, $1,000 bucks, whatever it is. Stay true to that. Watch a couple of Class Firearms videos. We've done a bunch of videos out there when it comes to, you know, budget AR-15s, you know, those really high-end AR-15s when it comes to pricing, obviously. And that way you can narrow down your search. So price point is very important to consider.
I feel like we should roll on to the 4th thing.
Let's do it. And number 4 is going to be, what are you going to use this thing for?
Yeah, and what is your role or intended purpose for it?
Exactly. And this kind of correlates with the price point too. So if you're one of those new police officers and your department allows you to get your own AR-15, guess what? I would personally have a decent budget for that one, because your life depends on it. I mean, in any case, your life depends on it. But in this case, you got partners, you people out there, you're serving on duty. So something that's going to have really good accuracy, good reliability, something that's going to last you a long time is very important. Therefore, that could potentially increase your budget a little bit. But if it's one of those things like for home defense, you live at a farm or at home, like you just use it solely for home defense, or just like little game hunting, whatever, something just maybe a more budget friendly could do just fine for you. Like speaking of that, little budget friendly Anderson AM-15 right here. These things cost next to nothing, and they actually perform pretty well, right? And different metallurgy, some of the stuff compared to some of the really high-end stuff. And when it comes to high-end or mid-tier, let's just say, this is a Criminal Armament right here. This is, you know, Mark II, obviously. This is a really solid gun. So just to see, they all look the same, but they're not necessarily the same.
Right, and each one has its own little purpose, right? So like you mentioned, whether it's be, you know, for the cop on duty or for the mom who's trying to protect her ranch farm on all of this stuff, you know, everything has a purpose. So I think that kind of like almost leads us into like how we set it up, being number 3.
Let's do it.
And number 3, right, we mentioned it. We did price, we did what's your purpose, and now since you've already got it, how do you set it up?
Exactly. In fact, before you get it, know what you're going to do to it, because it's going to directly correlate your price and purpose, right? So, okay, this is my budget, and this is what I want to use it for. based on those things, you need to deck it out in a way so it is actually the most effective for you.
Right, and I mean, look at something like this, right? Got this Anderson right here, decked out pretty nice. Got a nice little foregrip on it. LPVO for anything, you know, short but yet long engagements as well. And this, I'd say, this is a pretty good one to have on a ranch, right?
100%. Yep, exactly. So. Just you know, like you say, a little maybe offset dot, 12 o'clock or 35 degrees. Yeah. Or you just. Let's just show a fully decked out one right here. H&K MR27. Obviously, this cost a few $1,000s, let's just say. This is just for visual. I can't afford this one, can you? We can. Yeah, we know that.
Okay. No.
Yeah, you can. So you got a little foregrip right here. You got a little bipod, flip-up mechanical sights. You know, rear one is not important, but you can actually get the front one up and kind of co-witness, help you guide a little bit. We got the ACOG and an RMR on top of it. So you got nice and fully decked out. You got your ACOG right here. Kind of move these aside because that's going to affect your view. So you're on the glass for longer distances, and you got your 12 o'clock right here, little dot. You can engage for those close quarter engagements needs. And you got your sling. Keep this thing tight and nice to your body so you have positive control of the rifle. Overall, you know, what are you going to use it for? How much is your budget? Based on that, deck it out. But minimum, absolutely get a sling, throw a light on it. It's good.
Got to be able to see what you can shoot.
Exactly. Identify your target. Get a dot on it. Minimum a red dot. Because with a red dot, you generally can engage like 500 yards. Mm-hmm. You know, you can just have effective hits. But get a red dot on it. If you're going to get an LPVO like that one, have a little offset dot. That's 12 o'clock or 35. It really does help out. But at the very least, a little red dot based on your budgeting. So that's it.
Yeah, and we're talking about setup now. There is one thing. We're talking about bare bones, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want to go to the obvious other side of the spectrum. You don't need to load it up with 48 bajillion things that you don't even use.
I was just going to say that. Guys, we see like we do those bust your setups, let's just say, right? We do those videos sometimes, and people send us some really good setups, and some we're like, dude,
overkill.
Like, why? Yeah. They have this bipod, this huge bipod on a 10-inch AR. They've got these bunch of little things attached to it, a huge freaking 5 to 25 scope on a 10-inch. Like, it's just a bunch of things that don't make sense, makes things really heavy. It's just not efficient for you. You got to make, just because you have money. Let's say you're one of those folks like Jason, you have a lot of money, and you're able to buy whatever you want, right? Mm-hmm. Guys, that doesn't mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right.
Just make it effective, efficient, tasteful.
There's a point where practicality and reality set in. And we suggest that, you follow it.
So. Exactly. Yeah. So, with that being said, number two?
Number two.
Let's do it. And number two is going to be obviously knowing how the operations of your AR-15, general AR-15s work, and how you could basically field strip it, maintain it, and all that stuff.
Yeah, proper maintenance, man. I mean, that really goes into it. Like, yes, you can buy all that your heart's content, but can you maintain it? Do you know what this is? Do you know the bolt head? Do you know its operation? Do you know how to properly lube the gun? I mean, there's so many factors, right? Spending the money is only half the battle. So.
Yeah. You really do need to know how AR-15s operate. I actually do have a friend, I'm not going to give his name. He is a very good AR-15 shooter. Just, he's good. But if you ask him to field strip it and kind of strip this bolt, which we can't unfortunately show you guys because of YouTube guidelines, he couldn't do it. He does not know how to do that, which will affect you guys. If you're actually running a gun, you have a malfunction, you have a problem with the gun, you need to know how that gun works, inside out. You don't have to be a gunsmith, but you need to know how to field strip it and also disassemble this thing, which kind of pull this pin out and things kind of come out. Know that, not only just cleaning the gun, but also you can diagnose things, kind of do some of those preliminary investigations on anything that goes wrong with the gun yourself, which is crucial in my opinion.
All right. Yeah. How do you know your gas rings aren't cooked? I mean, you've got to know these things and actually put them in practical application. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes onto it. At the end of the day, know your tool and how to use it.
Yeah. As soon as you said gas ring, I'm like, okay, somebody's buying their first AR-15, they have no idea what a gas ring is.
Correct.
Which, again, this comes down to, actually, our number one is going to be really tied up. In fact, all of our, 1 through 5, they're all tied up very much with each other, but number one is going to basically cover some of this stuff too. You need to know these things.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna move on to number one, which is gonna cover some of this stuff too. But before we do that, we're gonna talk about an honorable mention, which is very important, guys. This one, it is one of those things like you gotta know, right? And that is
The gun laws and where you live.
exactly. So there are some states, unfortunately, guys. Now I know some of you guys are talking about the whole Second Amendment thing, and they're all illegal. I get it. I'm with you. But the reality is, there are laws, and we have to follow them, or else there are consequences, right? So you don't want to buy an AR-15, and you happen to kind of maybe travel back to your own state or whatever, or just buy it from somebody, and next thing you know, you're in violation of the state laws.
Yeah, and nobody wants to get caught with their pants down on
Yeah.
that aspect, because this is your right that you are potentially forfeiting if you don't actually pay attention to those laws in your state.
Yeah, very, very important. Again, not necessarily we agree with those laws, but they are laws. We don't want you to kind of get yourself jammed up, and next thing you know, somebody slap you with a felony. Now you can't have any guns.
Yeah.
So this is, in my opinion, extremely crucial.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
make
I'm
sure-
all for just, be a man. No, what do they say? Free men don't ask for permission.
I know.
But yeah,
Yeah, I just want to go ahead and tell you guys these things, and it's up to you to do whatever you want. With that being said, number one. And obviously, number one is going to be, you guessed it right. If you haven't, come on, man.
training.
Exactly.
Obviously, training.
It's very important. So you don't want to just get an AR-15 and you're like, hey, how does this thing work?
All right.
Like, so you need to know exactly how that thing works. And that's why the number two, which is like knowing the operation of the gun, that's going to actually come with training as well, right? You're going to have those malfunction drills. You're going to actually field strip it and kind of learn all about the insides and outs. There's obviously direct impingement, know what that is, or piston-driven systems. They're two different, short stroke piston-driven system and long stroke, but long stroke is very rare for AR-15s.
Right.
But short stroke and DI systems are very, very common, know how they actually operate.
All right. And when it comes to training, we're obviously talking about getting out on the range and not pulling one of those, well, I've had it for 6 months, I only bring it out once a year. We're talking about getting engaged with either IE classes or taking your own time to get some training in, and actually have someone who is probably a SME or close thereof to give you insight pointers on how to actually use this firearm and properly use it in the aspect of you actually needing it. So.
Yes, and also when you pick your SME, subject matter expert, or instructor, whoever they are, be careful, guys. I'm not here to call anybody out, but there's a lot of people out there who call themselves instructors. They actually aren't. They don't know. They teach bad things, unfortunately, and they're not even aware of it. Maybe they got this information or that information 20 years ago. Things aren't as relevant now. So make sure you go to a credible person. Check out your local gun ranges. There's some really good people there, generally speaking, and train, because when somebody comes into your house or whatever, you want to be able to effectively use that gun to not only keep yourself alive, also legally, you want to keep yourself in the clear as well.
Right. I mean, remember, at the end of the day, you are training for that 1% moment.
Exactly.
So it could be given at home, out in public, or just wherever you may be. So that 1% moment is 100% of your accountability in your life. So take that
Exactly.
in consideration.
Yeah, if you're out there one of your purposes was, let's say, hunting, right? Well, you want to go ahead and have a humane way of ending that animal's life. Training is going to come in handy for that one. Or if one of your purposes was competition, well, obviously you need to train so you can actually do better. So training covers everything. That's it. Let us know your top 5 or just 5 considerations before you buy your first AR-15.
And are there any things that you thought that we missed, or any other categories or things we should actually consider while, sharing with the masses?
Exactly. That's it. And at the same time, guys, check out